Morning, Kalos. Can we talk for a minute? Okay, that's an R&B joke. I won't do that next service. Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Orotikin. My wife and I, Jessica, have been attending Kalos for the last year. First service we came to was actually the first Sunday of January 2024. So first off, I'm just super grateful to be up here to share a little bit about my faith journey and how it relates to my work and my professional life. So a little bit about me. I started my professional journey working on staff with Young Life during college, specifically with kids with disabilities, but eventually made the decision to transition into Saas sales, software as a service, to build out my resume. So I got my start at a small tech company here in Redmond called PushPay. I was at DocuSign for 3 years, helping people sign their mortgages, and then now I'm a senior manager at a company called Sprout Social, where I've been for a number of years. So why is this important? Why do you guys care? When I made the decision to move into tech, I quickly realized that the way my faith would manifest would have to be very different than the way it had when I was doing day-to-day ministry. I was no longer in an environment where an outward expression of my faith was celebrated, but in most cases it was rebuked and considered inappropriate. So for those of you unfamiliar, SaaS sales culture can be as toxic as you might expect. Often driven by a work hard, play hard culture with strict performance metrics. In this high pressure environment, many coworkers approach their day-to-day with a high level of cynicism, and your value is only as good as your last month at quota. And for me, I had to make a choice. What would I choose to stay true to? Would I choose to stay true to who God has called me to be? Or would I conform to this culture around me and change who I was on the inside? I wrestled with this, but it wasn't until I eventually moved into leadership that I had a moment of deep reflection, really asking myself, what do I want to be known for? What type of leader do I want to become? And what kind of culture will I choose to build on the teams that I lead? In Matthew 5:14 through 16, Jesus teaches, you can identify them by their fruit. That is, by the way that they act. Can you pick grapes from a thorn bush or figs from thistles? A good tree produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit. A good tree can't produce bad fruit, and a bad tree can't produce good fruit. So every tree that does not produce fruit is chopped down and thrown into the fire. Yes, just as you can identify a tree by its fruit, so you can identify my people by their actions. The passage again challenged me. Who will I be known as? Throughout the Gospels, we see that oftentimes Jesus' actions spoke louder than his words, going before him and drawing the crowds to him. In Mark 1:28, after casting out demons in the synagogue, we see the news about Jesus spread quickly throughout the entire region of Galilee. And after healing a leper and explicitly saying, don't tell anybody, the man went and spread the word, proclaiming to everyone what had happened. And as a result, large crowds soon surrounded Jesus, and he couldn't even publicly enter towns anywhere. He had to stay out in secluded places, but people from everywhere kept coming to him. And then in Matthew 4:24 through 25, after healing the sick, it says, the news about him spread as far as Syria, and people soon began bringing to him all who were sick. Large crowds followed him wherever he went. People were drawn to Jesus' actions, his love, his healing, and his compassion. Now, I'm not suggesting you lay hands on your sick coworker or try to cast out a demon of your least favorite coworker, but there you go, thanks for laughing at my jokes, appreciate that. But what I am saying is that if Christ lives in you, then the same spirit that drew the crowds to Jesus and that same spirit that brought healing and restoration can also bring healing and restoration to your workplace through your actions and how you choose to love those around you. Jesus in John 13:34 through 35 commands, so now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as I have loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Our love, expressed in how we treat others, is the mark of being a Christ follower. So how does this play out in my life? What are some practical ways this could play out in yours? So for me, whenever someone joins my team, in my About Me slides, I actually share the values that drive me. It's two things, empathy and excellence. Those values are driven by a personal faith in Jesus Christ, and I have an opportunity to share that and reinforce those in the cultures that I build. In my one-on-ones with my reps, as I get to know them and we go through coaching, it's opened up doors for me to share more about my faith as they've asked questions to discover more about why I lead the way that I lead. In doing this, I've often found that it's actually emboldened reps on my team who have a personal faith with Jesus to speak boldly about their faith as well. One specific example, there was a rep on my team whose grandmother had just been diagnosed with cancer, and then one of his colleagues actually asked permission, "Can I pray for you?" And there was a moment of prayer where we were able to invite the Holy Spirit into a secular workplace and have an encounter with Jesus just based on kindness. In my performance reviews with executive leadership, I get this all the time. You're too kind. You're too nice. Other people are going to take advantage of you. But in those moments, it's opened up a door for me to share my faith and explain why I choose to lead the way I do to those above me. It's not about weakness. It's about leading with integrity, creating a culture of care, reflecting Jesus in my leadership, and trusting that God will open up doors for me to share the faith that drives me. It is a daily choice to choose love and kindness in every interaction, trusting that the Spirit of God will work in those moments and open up doors for evangelism. And so my challenge to all of us as we leave today is, what do your actions say about your faith? In what ways do people see, in what ways does your workplace see Christ through you? And how can you build a culture that reflects Jesus? May we be known not just by our words, but by our fruit, by the way we love and lead in every place we step into. Thank you.